Hi there, and thank you for joining me. I'm Dr. Liz Jenkins with drlizcoaching.com. And we're in day 14 of Inside Couples Conflict. And today we're going to talk about defensiveness and explaining, and what you should swap that out with. Defensiveness and explaining are one of the one of the five conflict styles that we're going to be talking about in this 30-day series. And defensiveness comes naturally. It really does, because we oftentimes think that when someone's upset or angry or hurt, that the more we tell them about why we didn't mean to do that or what happened or all the extenuating reasons behind the problem, the faux pas, the hurt, they'll understand and it'll be okay. It'll just be, oil on the waters. And so this defensiveness style comes up pretty commonly, and it's almost automatic for many people. Well, that was one of my go-tos that when I started studying conflicts and being more effective with myself and also teaching couples, I started to realize, wow, this would have been really nice to know when I was a kid instead of like when I'm an adult. And so here's what it is: that there's an issue, there's a problem, someone gets angry, and if your style or their style is to go to defensiveness, the first response, or probably the very first kind of set of responses from you or your partner, is explanations. And it's like tossing these shiny things into the air. Well, this was running late, or I didn't realize the car didn't have gas, and so by the time I got gas, and then we were late, and so this is all the reasons why. It's supposed to make it okay for the person that's coming across as defensiveness. We're acknowledging that something went wrong, but we're also trying to cool the emotions and say, oh, well, see, now you have all the details, and it makes it okay. What oftentimes happens when someone is hit with this defensiveness and all these shiny things coming out of the reasons why it happened, it actually is like throwing gas on the fire, and it accelerates the conflict, because it's like, you're not getting it. Okay, you're not getting it. It doesn't make it okay. You should have known that there wasn't gas in the car. That's not acceptable reason why you're late and why let's say we missed our flight, okay, or our connection, or whatever it might be. And so oftentimes when we start throwing these explanations or the shiny things out into the conversation, the conflict, our partners grab a hold of those, and then that takes the fight in so many different ways. All right. It's like when we do the not knowing there was gas in the car, or we were low on gas, that might trigger a whole slew of things of how often I drop the ball, or I don't pay attention to the details, or I'm just not a responsible person. I don't plan well. That I'm always late, and I should have just built in more time for unexpected things like not having gas and needing to fill up the car. Right? So you can see how one frustration goes in so many different areas and so different things. So what do we swap it out with? All right. Well, the very first thing that when you or your partner is in that conflict, and you might have the defensive style, is to stop and pause and get a read on their feelings. What are they upset? Are they angry? Are they hurt? Are they disappointed? Whatever. We want to speak to their feelings. Acknowledge the feelings. Even if you don't know exactly what they are, but they're clearly upset, then that might be what you do. You say, I realize you're really upset with me and the situation right now. And then you might get something like, you're sure right, I am. I can't believe we're late and we missed our connection on the flight. I can't believe it. And sometimes then they start talking about that, then they'll start sharing some emotions. I was so looking forward to this trip and getting away. Or I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to explain it to work that I'm not going to be, showing up on time, whatever it might be. Okay. So in that, in that conflict, rather than explain yourself, okay, there'll be a time for that and discussion if you want. You pause, get a read on their emotions, and speak to that. I understand you're frustrated. You look really upset right now, or very, very disappointed. And I'm sorry, I'm disappointed too. So you can mirror that. You can share your emotions as well in that moment. Right? That's helpful and bonding. But we want to make sure that the very first thing is we acknowledge that they're not okay and that they're having some emotions around that. Because when we get our feelings validated, let's just step out of that for a second. If it's us, that we were the ones that are disappointed that we're missing the flight. If we get our feelings validated, it calms the person. It helps us step back a second and say, yeah, I am. I'm so upset. I just don't have the words for it right now. I was so hoping, or I'm so angry right now. I just don't know what to do with it. All right. It gives us a chance to step back and rather accelerate again in the conflict, but to be acknowledged and start to try to self-soothe or get soothing and validating from our partners. And so we go back and forth in that, right? And believe me, I know we have certain styles, and I'm asking you to do something that doesn't really feel fluid. Maybe it feels a little foreign or awkward. We will find your style on, your personalized touch. Let's call that your personalized touch on each of the conflict styles that you need to swap out. But go with the process. It's okay to be out of your comfort zone because we're swapping something that's not effective with something that will be effective. We just have to put your own spin on it. Okay. Right. And so as we're thinking at it, so, all right. So we're wrap it up before I go on to the next thing. So we're looking at defensiveness and we're looking at the explaining part. And that's the one that's not effective. And we want to swap it out with acknowledging the other person's feelings, validating them, pausing, letting them collect and step into being recognized, that they have this big emotion. And then you can also share your emotions about it too, or about the situation if you were, a cause for that. Okay. So let me step back a second and talk about just an overall concept with conflict and adults. Oftentimes when we show up in a relationship, in a fight and things, we somehow assume that because we're older and we're walking around in big bodies, that we're going to handle disappointments and frustrations better than we did when we were 7 or 8 years old. That's not necessarily the case because emotions are emotions. They're not tied to some biological age group. And suddenly when you hit 30, whoa, I'm no longer, frustrated. I outgrew frustration. Lucky me. Uh-uh. We still get frustrated, disappointed, hurt. We still feel furious and angry and devastated and bewildered and betrayed. We still have it. Those feelings go with us long term. All right. So again, feelings don't follow logic. They are a reaction, they are an emotion, and that's good and that's cool and that's wonderful. Ideally, what does follow us biologically as we age is that we acquire new skills, new experiences, we test them out, we work on them, we try, and we improve on them. Okay, that's the goal. And that's why you're here. That's why I'm here. But if you think back to maybe when we were kids, and we had, I don't know if you guys had them, but those balsa wood airplanes. And if you got the fancy kind, they had a little propeller with a rubber band and you wind it up and throw it. And so let's say that's our toy and we lend it to our spouse. I'm like, hey, yeah, you can play it. and they fly it into the air, and it goes crashing into the tree or into the street and chips a piece off of the wing, and we're mad, we're sad, we're frustrated. That was my toy. That's the only thing I have. You ruined it. Okay, even back then, we might have been dropping into those same 5 conflict styles. And if we were if we were in the situation where someone was defensive, and my partner, my spouse just broke the wings off my airplane, and that's the only one I have, what happens? If they start saying, well, I didn't know it was going to go that way, and that it just went right into the tree, and then it hit hit the asphalt, and if we had just done it further on the grass, maybe it wouldn't happen. It doesn't matter. In that moment, it doesn't matter. That's truth. That's all logic. We should have maybe had better judgment, used better judgment, did a different landing line. But right now, in that moment, my airplane's broken. I'm that 7-year-old, and I don't know how it's going to get fixed, and I don't have another one. And so even back then, people would come to us, hopefully, or the partner would say, I'm really sorry. I know you're upset. I broke your airplane. I'm really, really sorry. You must feel really mad at me. I feel really sad. Then we can step back. Okay. And then, yeah, that was my only one. And I was going to use it tomorrow and take it to school and show it off. And now I can't because it's broken. Right. So whether we were 7 or we're 37 or 57, we still have those emotional things. So think about, sometimes it helps when I'm asking folks to do something different, is that think about yourself or your spouse as a younger emotional child, and as you're having really valid feelings, and how would you soothe them? How would you want to have been soothed at that age? And so that when you're using these skills and you're talking to your 37 or your 57-year-old spouse or partner, they're talking to you, you're recognizing there's still this little emotional person walking around in us, and we still have feelings, and we still get disappointed and feel betrayed and frustrated and angry. And in this conflict style, speaking to that feeling first diffuses the fight. Okay. So I hope you have a wonderful day. DM me. I'd love to talk with you more. I have a fantastic Reignite couples program that I would love to chat further on how you can reconnect and reignite the passion, the love, the friendship, the compassion in your relationship. Bye.